So in this video, I'm going to be changing out my point of use hot water heater. It's a 7-gallon hot water heater. And as you can see here as I zoom in, see this rust colored line right here? These are weep holes. And it's been leaking through the weep hole. Now this unit is 12 years old and this is in my office slash house now. And what this is a plant like carrier with casters on the bottom. And I have to get it all disconnected. I unplugged it, of course, and it's been drained. I'm going to cut this line, the hot water line here. And then I have to carefully get in here. And I have to cut way down here on the bottom. This is where the cold water line is coming out. And I'm going to cut that elbow off. Let's see if I can get in there. I'm going to cut that elbow off. And because it's such a short pipe that you can see, and it's a lot of rust, there's a lot of hard water where I'm at. So I'm going to get all this done, and hopefully I can spin this off here and still use all this connection on the new one. I just got my new water heater in, but after I get that all disconnected, I'm going to go ahead and slide it onto here, and with the casters, I can roll it right out. Now, some of the tools you're going to need are you're going to need PVC pipe cutter. You're also going to need, I have the glue in another bag, and also the purple, you can see that, that's the purple primer. And how I learned how to do this is working with my ex-husband. We both plumbed this building. So here is my new water heater. And it doesn't have the electrical cord on it. I'm going to have to wire that, which I know how. I have to install, this is the emergency tap or the overflow tap here. And then there also is a plug that goes in the center there, this brass plug. And then you take this top off, and that's where the pipes are going to go. Now, it can be laid on the top or on its side. And these are 3/4 inch threaded fittings. So hopefully what is already there, I can reuse. So this PVC cutter is on a ratchet, and I kind of had to use both hands to kind of jam it in here. Now this is a medicine cabinet that you have over the toilet that I just decided this would be a good place for it. So you're going to ratchet this down, and you could see how it's going to eventually cut it. And you can hear that gurgling. That means there's still water in the line. And yeah, there's still some water in the line. So I'm going to have to get something to unglug all that. So as you can see, I cut the lines because it is moved. Let me get my light. And it made a hell of a mess. There is, I don't know of a real good way to drain it except this over the emergency tap. Now you could undo, I don't know why this is doing this. You could do the brass, I'm showing you here, that brass steel there, but you can see my whole floor is soaking wet. Plus I have to, I have to clean. it happens when you have cats. Cat hairs everywhere. But so I cut the top line as mentioned. Then all I have to do is put a union. Now on the bottom, that's where all the water was coming out, was from the bottom. So there is really, you know, no good way to drain this thing because it's a sealed unit. There is no bottom drain like your metal hot water heaters. So that was my problem, and it just started gushing out. That's why the pot is there, to try to at least catch some of it. Otherwise I'd be standing in a couple inches of water, because it was still about a quarter of it had water in it that it didn't, you know, and there was no water leaking out of it at all until I cut that bottom pipe. So I have this big tower fan, and I'm not having it oscillating, I'm just having it blowing right on there, and that should really dry this floor out here within the hour. It's on high, and that's how he got it all done. So I'm going to have to let the floor dry with that little bit of a mess. So some more tools that you're going to need for this is a pipe wrench to at least get this one off. If I don't get this one off down here, that's fine. And then since my ex did the power cord, and you could see you could see that it was even leaking around the bottom, which that's not good. So this tank wasn't used for about a year, and I'm wondering either the seal went out or it got a crack in the tank. I don't know if it's glass on the inside, but the building always was temperature controlled. So I'm going to need a Phillips head screwdriver and also a flat screwdriver, because he just used what he had, to take this power cord out and see how he did it. He has since passed away since he's done this work for me. And like I said, it was 10 years ago. So I have to take it all apart and see what he did. So as I go, I will continue, so stay tuned. So I have my pipe wrench, and you know, of course, you put it on around here, but you have to be real careful with plastic, you know, CP PVC, or the PVC on the bottom, because it will crack if you're not careful. And it didn't take me righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I could spin it right off, which is awesome. That's what I wanted to do. And you could see on the inside, you know, there's some rust in there. So after 10 years, poor thing is going to not work properly. And when I gonna install this on the new one, and you see it already has its gasket and everything in there. You push that down, so you've got the threads. Push that down on the bottom, so you got your threads, because it was all the way up to here. And on the new hot water heater, this is pipe tape, and I'm going to coat the threads of the new spout, I guess you'd call it, or connector, with pipe tape. So I'm kind of scrambling because I didn't get everything, you know, together. But I could still reuse this. That's what I wanted. So I'm really excited that I can still reuse this connector. Then all I have to do is I bought a union. So then I just cut a little bit more off of the pipe and put a union and affix these two pieces of pipe together, because I don't have any more of this pipe. And it doesn't even say what actual size it is. Usually I think it's 1/2 inch. That's the smallest they make. But I'm not 100% sure. Now, if you can read that little bitty writing right there, it does say 1/2 inch on the elbow. So there would be a 1/2 inch pipe. The writing is embossed, you know, right on your connectors. So this is a 3/4 inch, And so we got a 3/4 inch here, and then it's reduced to a 1/2 inch. Okay? Then he had the little elbow, and so all I have to do is, like I said, is glue the union back together with the other piece of pipe after I screw this on to the new one, again using pipe tape, and I'll be set. I'll be good to go. Now, on the bottom here, that's going to be a little bit different story. I don't want to have a screw-on elbow like he did, but I may have to. So I'm going to figure that out here in a second. And yes, I have cats, so excuse the mess. So the next thing is to get the power cord off and see what's going on there. So I unscrewed the whole plate, and this is pretty self-explanatory. Now, I will give a waiver here. I'm not a plumber, and I'm not an electrician, but it's easy to follow. You go white to white, black to black, green to green. Okay, and these are wire nuts. So, like I said, I'm reusing everything my ex did. He did this whole contraption here, and this is you just unscrew this, so you're going to need, you know, a wrench for this. If that doesn't unscrew, it's a little conduit. And after I undo all the wire nuts, which I mean I can undo those now. So you undo each wire nut. It's hard to do it one-handed, but I really don't have room out here for my tripod. So after I get the wire nuts undone, then I'm just going to pull this cord, you know, undo this little conduit, and pull the whole cord back through, and then just reuse it on the new one. So easy peasy. I'm also mechanically inclined. I've been mechanicking for over 40 years, so it may not be easy to a lot of the newbies, but when you've been doing it as long as I have, this is pretty easy. And also, before I forget, the reason why I brought this outside to work on it on my front porch is because it still had water in it, and I didn't want to make a mess inside my building. So now I have this taken apart. So like I mentioned, this was just like a little conduit. This is a ring right here that comes off, and it was just, you kind of sandwiched, you know. So you take, and this video is mainly for women who are doing it yourself. So you guys, if you may be watching this, you know, don't be heckling because I'm a woman, and like I said, I'm not an electrician. I'm just mimicking what my ex-husband did. He wasn't an electrician either, and to be safe, you should have an electrician do this and a plumber do this, but I can't afford that, so I'm just mimicking what he did and doing it myself. So DIY. And you just take this ring completely off, put the plate in, sandwich it through, tighten it up, and then you, like I mentioned earlier, black to black, green to green, white to white, twist the wires together, put the wire nuts on the end for definitely safety. So now that I have all of the parts taken off of the old one, this is my new one, and I put it on my little caster plant roller deal, so then I can roll it around and spin it around and while I'm working on it. And and like I said, you have to excuse my mess. It's not a studio. And I got the AC in here now, so it's not so hot. It's already in the upper 80s, gonna be 97 here today as I'm recording this. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and and it doesn't matter, there's lots to do on this new one, so it doesn't really matter what you do first, I don't think. I mean, everybody has a system of doing things, so I'm gonna roll this back around, and I have to take, there's see that plastic plug? I gotta pull that out, because then I have to screw, this is where I need your pipe wrench again. I have to screw this in because that's like a stopper. This could be, you could also put like a adapter in there that would be this size. See there how it's solid, it's just a brass plug, but that could also be a good drain if you have to drain this thing. I just couldn't access it with my other one, so what I might do is I might go and get an adapter for a garden hose, and if I need to, then I can always drain it, and then I can also get one of these deals or a single one that has the shutoff valve to it, and if I need to drain it, then just attach a garden hose and be able to drain it that way. Could put a faucet on it, I think, you know, faucet of the same size, which that's pretty much what this is, you know, and then you can, it would help drain, I believe, a lot better. But when it gets to a certain point, when it, you know, it gets down to here, it's not going to drain no matter what you do. So, and you see where the cold water was, so when it gets that far, the water gets that far, it's not going to drain even if you tried that. So, I mean, what do y'all suggest as far as helping to drain this thing? Please feel free to leave a comment below this video. So I'm going to start with taking these two screws out and then connecting the wires. There's a third one hiding in there, that's why I need to take the plate off, and then I'm going to attach the power cord just like it was on the old one. So now I put my camera on, I'm doing this with a camcorder, not my phone, put it on a tripod so that you could see all that I'm doing. So you see how they give you quite a bit of wire in here, and because it's got to be tucked underneath this plate, I'm going to take a little bit of it off, you know, right to where my fingers are, not that much. So you can also hardwire this into a wall, which they prefer that you do, but there again, I'm just mimicking what was already there. The plug did great, because if I'm out of town, I take a trip and go out of town, I can unplug it. I don't have to throw the breaker. I can unplug it, shut it off, unplug it, and then I don't have to worry about that something's going to happen while I'm away. So I'm just going to take about half of this wire off. These are great to have. These are wire cutters, wire strippers. You could get this at Harbor Freight, Lowe's, anything like that. So I'm just going to take, you know, each wire, and I'm going to cut it. Clean up my mess later. And then do about the same length for each one. Right about the same. Now my hands ain't, I'm 61 years old, so my hands aren't what they used to be at all. Doing too much mechanic work. Too much truck driving too. Okay? And then, this is a cool little gadget. I believe, if I remember right, you find out what gauge the wire is, and you could stick it up through the bottom, and you just grab it, and it should strip it without tearing the wire off. And it cuts the wire. So, messed up on that one. So let's try this one down here. See, this is just why I'm doing this live, because even I screw up with all the years I've been doing this. There we go. I couldn't remember if this was the cutter or the stripper. So that's, you know, not too bad as far as that little bit. You just, you know, get it close to the size of the wire, and you just pinch it and pull, and there we go, and it strips it real nice and clean for you. And then the last one, and pull, and there you go, nice and there you go, nice and stripped and clean. Like I said, I'll clean up my mess later. So that tool is, we also have, not only we have to put in the plug, But as I mentioned, we have to put in this pressure relief valve as well. So then I'll have to flip the hot water heater on its side, because right now it's on its, you know, this will be the side. It'll be laying, so the top is here. The top is over here. So I have to flip it in order to put this pressure relief valve on there. So next, I'm gonna undo this here, this cowling, I guess you call it. Stick it through. This is the plate that came off of there. Stick it through like this. Then take the ring, put it back through, the wires back through. And this is what I was mentioning to you before. It was just sandwiched in. Spin it on. And if you don't have good hands like me, or not like me, guys may not, you know, need to use pliers, but I use pliers to get it good and snugged up and good and tight. There again, same colored wires. You want to make sure that, before I tighten up, you want to make sure that all these wires are flat. You see how this one's kind of spread out? Maybe I could do it better there. See how that's kind of spread out? You want to twist that together. Make sure it's all flat like the new ones. Okay? So I'm gonna, before I forget, because yeah, I got that problem too, I'm gonna get this with the pliers. I'm gonna get it good and snugged up. You don't want to snug it up too hard because this is plastic. Sorry about that. I get out of focus because I'm trying to put some oomph behind it. And then we're just gonna connect white to white, green to green, black to black. And then use the wire nuts. So as you see here, I got them all twisted together, but you notice this right here, right where my thumb is pointing, and I don't, so right there, that's insulation, that's bare wire. So I'm going to take a little bit of black tape, and I'm going to, you know, make better insulation so this doesn't touch at all. Now, I'm sorry, I forgot to explain. White is power, black is negative, so there's a positive, negative, and then the green is the ground. So I'm going to get my black tape, and see, and this is little problems that you come across when you're working on something that you're not expecting. So even though I have all my tools and everything together, what I know I need, screwdriver, pipe wrench, pliers, this kind of thing, well, now I ran across this, so now I got to run and get the black tape. Another reason that I wanted to black tape that white is because of it being the power wire, and I didn't want it touching any kind of metal at all once I have to put all these wires back in this little storage container and behind that bracket, and I didn't want a spark or anything, and that would definitely be a fire hazard. So that's why I black taped it, to prevent a fire hazard. So what I'm going to do now is take all these wires, put them back, stuff them back in that little storage container, and then I'm going to screw the lid back down to the bracket lid. So I could do this right now. And it's like a puzzle. You have to stuff them back in, make sure you don't catch anything, don't pinch anything. I'm kind of anal about that. Stuff them back in there good. As you can see, I have to turn it around because the rounded side is on the rounded side. And it takes two hands. So there you go. Oh, I got it. And then I'm gonna screw it down. So I got all that completed. So now, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull out with the pliers. There's this plastic plug, a plastic cap, and then this is the plug for it, and that just screws in there again. You want to get it good and tight. You don't want to wrench on it too bad, because see how it's inset, still so it doesn't leak. If these don't work, I don't know if my because that's an inset like that, that still looks like it has a ways to go. So see, it's kind of tricky to get it out. It's screwing down good. I don't know if my pipe wrench may not work. Because it's so flush. It's not gonna fit in there right. So I have if I can find them. I have some needle nose channel locks. I'm going to try that instead. So let's see how that works. So I got that in the best I could. And now I'm going to work on getting Teflon tape to the two outlets. This is the inlet and that's the outlet. The hot water and the cold water side. I turn off the camera and start the camera because of don't want the battery to completely go down while I'm just, you know, taking these off and this kind of thing. So it would be nice if they already had Teflon tape on these for me, but of course they're not going to do that. So this already has Teflon tape on it. As you can see, I probably put a little bit more. So that was nice of them. I might have put Teflon tape on here. I can always pull it back off again and add Teflon tape. So here's your Teflon tape. There again, for any ladies out here, this is all in the plumbing department. So I just take it, you try to get it nice and wide, and you just wrap it around, just like Scotch tape if you would be wrapping presents. It kind of looks like, what do I want to, whiteout. If you ever were a secretary, ladies, and used whiteout at all, it kind of looks like that. So, yeah, this is, there again, you're always going to have a little problem. So you just wrap it all the way around several times. Whoops, and there it goes. And you just pinch it off. And I almost undid the whole thing. Excuse me. And you could roll it back on if this happens. Just roll it back on the roll. I've got patience like this, so I just roll it back on the roll. If you don't want to, you just tear it off. No big deal. I just don't like to waste this. There's no reason for it when I could just roll it back on the roll. It's not sticky. This Teflon tape is not sticky. It's just providing like a seal for the PVC instead of using, unthreaded. You don't want to use glue. So like right now I could snap that off, and then it's a little bit easier. And then you just take it and you just wrap it around and have it nice and wide. Make sure it gets in all the threads. And there you be. So see, it's not that hard doing this kind of thing. If you have something to go by, maybe I should have wrapped this the other way. If you have like a recipe to go by, doing this kind of stuff is not that hard, as you can see. It's time consuming. I spent about close to an hour and a half on this, and I'm just taking my sweet time. I have till 3 o'clock this afternoon to get this whole thing ready, and I want to do it right the first time, so I don't have to do it a second time. So now, remember this piece? So this piece was the piece off the old one. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to spin it back on the new one. And I have to get it, make sure I get it lined up right. And I'll know that when I get back over. See how that popped? So that was just the glue coming off. So that can be re-glued. That's not a problem. So putting that pressure, and you could see putting that pressure on there, that just luckily popped off and didn't break. And there again, it's 12 years old. So I'm just going to re-glue this, and then I can, re-glue it any angle that I want. Okay? So then you're going to go back and you're going to take your monkey wrench, pipe wrench. I call it a monkey wrench. Don't know why they had a monkey wrench. Any of you guys know why this is called a monkey wrench? If you do, leave it in the comments below. What's the history of a pipe wrench? Why is it called a monkey wrench? Because you're monkeying around? So, because this won't do this way, so then you have to go the other side. And you just open it and close it. And that's to get more, turning power. And there again, you got to be careful. You don't want to crack it, because then it's all my work is for nothing. But you want it tight. You want about hand tight. So just when it starts to feel tight, there. That's good enough, because that's what the pipe thread is for. So now what I want to do on the cold water side is to have almost a connector that I can unscrew. So what I was gonna do is take this connector here, you got your female end and your male end, and I was gonna screw it on. Don't want to cross thread it, which is putting it on crooked. There again, get it better than hand tight. Then I was going to take this connector, screw it on, but you see how far out that is? So that's not going to work because of where the pipe comes. The pipe almost comes right there. You notice when I had that elbow, my elbow was sitting like this. just a little bit of pipe. You know, the pipe was like right there. So this isn't going to work. So what I'm going to do instead is get rid of this piece here. And this is all, I do some of my best thinking while I'm driving. So I'm going to get rid of this piece here. I'm just going to screw this adapter on because I want it like this side over here. Or I could do an elbow and screw it on, but there again, you have to cut it. So I just wanted to unscrew this. Okay. Then I'm going to have pipe that I'm going to go ahead and just put a little piece of pipe in there. And then just to attach these two. And then go up. Because my idea was to be able to unscrew this whole connector, but how it's set in the wall is too close to the hot water heater. So that's why I couldn't use this other piece, otherwise it'd go way too high and it'd be too close to the wall and I won't be able to do it. So if I have just a little piece of pipe just to connect these two together, it should work. So I'm not going to glue it all together until I know that pipe will fit. So what I can do is I could take the this elbow and go and see if it'll fit on the pipe, and then I can work it from there. So I won't be able to line anything up with the cold water until I get the water heater over and set up in its spot. So now I'm going to turn it on its, because now it's on its side, so I'm going to put it to where it's down like this. And it's not that heavy. I thought it was going to be heavier, but it's really not that heavy. So then, I don't know if you could see this on the back. It has a bracket and that bracket is the same that's already been installed like the old one. So I'm just going to line up that bracket and then push it in, and that will hold it. It's a wall mount bracket. So now what I'm going to do is pull out this stopper and put in the overflow pressure relief valve, excuse me. I call it an overflow valve. I may not be using the right terminology. You can also take needle nose pliers and do this, but since I got these, and this is just the same kind of cap cover, just pull it out. Gotta have some muscles when you do this. And then you just set this in and you just start turning. And there again, you don't want to cross thread it, so you got to feel around for the threads. Cross threading something is not a good thing. And this is all like a foam insulation they glue in. And you can feel when it catches. There. And it caught there. But there again, you don't know if you're cross-threading it. Should go a little bit better than that. And this is just, you know, the tag for it, as you can see. And break up that handy dandy pipe wrench, because this is brass, so there again, I'm not the strongest person in the world. I just don't like how that's going. I really don't want to cross thread it. Don't worry about that. Best way it's gonna go. Now I can set this on the floor. Oops. I can set this on the floor so that it won't be rolling around. Tighten it up. I struggle. I know I don't have the muscles. But I also don't have a guy around to help me with this. So, you have to do what you can, ladies. And there again, you know, this would be all set up from the plumber. If you have a plumber, go ahead and do it. I don't want to break anything. And this could also snap, not snap, but pop you a good one. So that's as tight as I can get it. And with the plumber's tape on there, cords get wrapped around the casters. Plumber's tape on there, it should be okay. There again, it's just a relief valve. It starts boiling over, then the water comes up through the top. Okay, and I have it on the caster instead of carrying it over to the spot that I need. And while I'm doing all this and getting there all the connections and everything on and the power cord on, the floor was able to dry. So that's why I went ahead, instead of waiting for the floor to dry, I went ahead and got all this done. Now for the install. The primer gets awful messy, the purple primer. So I want to do it in the garbage can so I don't get it all over, you know, because this stuff is dyed and it makes a mess. So this is in a coupling, 3/4 inch coupling. See how it's dripping everywhere? Do both sides to prime it really good. Okay, shake off the excess. I'm going to grab some paper towel. Okay, so I try not to make a mess everywhere. Set that down. Then I'm going to take the primer and one side of this 3/4 inch PVC, and what I'm needing to do is I'm needing it to extend the pipe that's coming out of the wall, and it's at a T. I will show you that in a second. I have to extend that down, so that's why I'm going to use that coupling and prime this piece of pipe, glue it into the coupling. And with pipe, you just want to take it about the little cotton swab thing, about that much around. And what this primer does, it cleans the pipe and it gets it ready for your cement, your pipe cement, glue pipe cement. So you always want to use that and let it set up, let it activate good. There again, I just do it, try to stay neat, do it over the garbage can. And let's go see what I'm talking about. So this is the main pipe coming out of the wall. That's my water supply, and I don't know why that's acting like it is. Maybe because of the light. And then you got your T. So that's why I'm having to extend this pipe down a little bit, because I measured from, this is the board that the hot water heater is going to be standing on, and it's 2.5 inches, and this here, this end is 3 inches. So I'm needing to extend that down about inch so that it meets the elbow when the elbow comes out. Now remember, I was telling you I wanted to put that extender and everything on there. Well, the extender would bring the elbow all the way out to where my fingers are, and that's way past where I need it. So that's why I couldn't use that extender, because I didn't know the exact measurement. And here is the bracket that I was telling you about right here, that is gonna hook into the back of the hot water heater to keep it stationary and from falling forward. And you see how nice the floor dried. So this is the PVC all-purpose cement. They come in different colors. There's some for excuse me, the hot water side. This is good for everything. It's a multi-use cement, and it says right on there it's good for PVC, the CV PVC, and what the difference is that it's, I think, pressure treated PVC that's used for hot water, and then the white, and it's a beige color, and then the white is used for cold water side. And so this is good for all of it. So I'm going to apply some of this, just like I did the purple. Apply some of this over the purple and the activator, and then glue the pipe, that piece of pipe, into the union. So open it up. So this is your little glue, and you just roll it around. I'm only going to do this one side. And just get it real good along the purple. And then I also put a layer on the pipe as well. This is how I was taught. And you have to kind of be quick. Put that back so you don't get glue everywhere. And to feel which end I put it on. And then you just twist until you can't twist no more. Twist it on real good. Get that extra glue off of there. So I'm not ready for that yet. There. And you let it sit up a few minutes. Make sure you always have your container tight. They also have an opener. I had to use my monkey wrench to open the can up, but they also have a clamp style opener for these cans, because you get glue on the edge, it's like trying to open a paint can. So now that I have this glued and set up good, I had to measure this pipe here. And I may turn the flashlight away a little bit because it's there so you can see it better. And so from where this is, the hot water heater is going to be standing, it's 2.5 inches up from the base of the hot water heater to where the cold water outlet comes out. So I had to measure because there's an inch in this union. So from here to the middle, that pipe's going to go in. So I measured about 4 inches. I got 5, and then it went, so about 4 inches out. Then I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to cut it with the same cutters, PVC cutters that I did before. So I cut that, and there again, I'd rather have it a little bit longer and have to trim it back. Now I'm not going to glue this yet until I get it fit in there good. So you can put the pipe up in there. So see how it's coming down? Put the pipe up in here. There again, turn it. And of course, this pipe may be swollen a little bit. Like I'm putting it on there real straight. Yeah. So I'm wondering if this pipe isn't swollen a little bit from age. So I hope not. I may have to sand it down some or something, because it should be going in there better than what it is. I'm really having a struggle in there again. I got bad hands. So, yeah, see, it's not wanting to go in. So I may have to sand that down and clean that pipe up a little bit better. There again, I'm not a plumber, so this is all learned by doing. So I thought about it. Let me get the light off. So I thought about it, and I applied the glue, and I was able to get that piece connected. So like I said, I'd rather cut the pipe, the extension pipe underneath the coupling. I'd rather cut that too long, that I could always go back in and snip it just a little bit, than too short. So I was able to get that pipe on after all and save me a bunch of money and time having to go back to Lowe's and figure everything out. So now let's get the hot water heater in here. So even though that was able to work, you see how much higher it is. Now I can drop the hot water heater because it's just 2x4s underneath, so I could pull one of them up. But then it's going to mess up, you know, the top connector. So how I have it set up there, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to take that off. I will have to get a screw type of elbow and then try to put the elbow, you know, cut it enough, but I still may have to drop this hot water heater a little bit to get that to work just right, because I think it's just a smidge too high. This one's a little bit higher than the other one. So problems. So I went to Lowe's. I got a elbow that was threaded and threaded that on, and then it was too tall, so this board here was on top of that 2x4 there, And that's my sewer pipe coming out of the shower. So that was too tall, and I just pulled them apart, pounded the other one back down. Should be pretty level with the sewer pipe. You just didn't want the hot water heater sitting on the sewer pipe for quite a long period of time. And yeah, there we go. The light might be too bright. So we'll see if I can get this together and get that elbow into that little piece. I may have to cut it back some, but not too bad. And then attach the hot water here. Excuse me, there's my finger. Hot water here, connect it there, and I'll be done. So after some redneck engineering, I was able to get the hot water done and the cold water done, but now I have to go back outside and redo the outside line because it's just not right. But everything is connected. I won't have hot water until the next day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this, my DIY project of installing and replacing a point of use hot water heater. Oops. And y'all have a blessed day.